you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Keep this frequency clear.
And now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute, that powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. I'm your host, Bob Powell, and this is the final segment of a four-part show documenting the pro-Second Amendment protest that was held in Lansing on March 20th. Now, I'm standing here in front of WBKB in Alpena, Michigan, to let them know that I've not forgotten that they refused to cover this event in any way, shape, or form before, during, or after. And they can't say that they didn't know about it because thousands of you called them and demanded that they covered it, but they refused. Now, all of the stations down below covered it. There was one station that even deployed a helicopter to cover it. But here in northeastern Michigan, The Truth is Viral is the only media outlet that covered this event. So you can stop calling WBKB now. They're obviously so entrenched in Obama's anti-gun camp that phone calls just aren't going to cut it. So here's what we're going to do. And like those guys said in the previous video, I need your help to get this done. We're going to go after their advertising dollars. If you live in the WBKB viewing area and you wish that they had covered this event, then you need to let them know. Okay, write a letter to WBKB's general manager, Cher Allen. Whether you write it snail mail or send it to her email is up to you. Her email link is down below at share@wbkb11.com. And I'd like for you to tell Cher that you're disappointed that WBKB did not cover this event. And that you'll be watching the news to see who advertises on their news at 6 and 11. And then I want you to contact those advertisers and express your displeasure so that they can contact WBKB and say, hey, a bunch of my customers are calling me up and they're telling me that they're not going to come into my store if you don't change your editorial policy. I don't like that. So until you get some new blood in here, I'm not going to be advertising on your station anymore. That's what we need to do. That's the legal way to go about doing this. It's the proper way, it's the decent way. And we'll get our way. Because, Sweet Pea, I'm an old school jarhead. You see that bulldog? When he sinks his teeth into something, he doesn't let go. The Truth is Viral is going to be going live here in the next few weeks or so. I might even broadcast a few shows from right in this little spot. I'll be going head to head with WBKB on at 11 o'clock Monday through Friday. I've already got a per episode viewership higher than theirs. Let's see if we can't make The Truth is Viral northeastern Michigan's most trusted source for news, shall we? Now, WBKB violated the public trust and the terms of their FCC license by refusing to cover this event. I intend to keep up the pressure until there is new management at the helm of WBKB. But right now, let's go back to Lansing to hear from one of the day's most eloquent speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a real spitfire of a woman, a Texas belle. Her name's Jan Morgan.
Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce one of our keynote speakers, a beautiful woman, Southern belle from the beautiful state of Arkansas. She was kind of amazed a minute ago. She goes, oh, it's snowing and the sun is shining. How can that be? She's seen a lot of snow in her days. She was in New York, though, talking at that group a month or so ago, and she said it was pretty cold there. But anyways, Jan Morgan is a gun rights activist. She's an award-winning journalist. She publishes articles. She's been on lots of Fox News radio and television shows. She has, I think, a blog and a 350,000 people on her Facebook page. She promotes gun rights. She's serious about it. You don't mess with her. If you go on her website, she walks the walk and talks the talk. So without further delay, I'm very pleased to announce our next speaker, Jan Morgan.
Hello, Michigan! He kind of got my introduction just a little bit wrong. I reside in Arkansas right now, but I bleed orange because you see, I'm from this tiny little country called Texas. I'm a native Texan. I do bleed orange. And you know, in Texas, we kind of make our own laws there. We sort of look at the federal government when they start coming out with their anti-gun legislation and a bunch of other frivolous legislation, and we just sort of look at it and laugh and say, okay, whatever. We do our own thing. You know, I was looking around today. I had forgotten that Michigan is an open carry state. Thanks to all of you and the folks who fought so hard to make that happen. I am so jealous. In Texas, we still have to hide our guns. Hey, wait a minute. I was told that when I arrived at this rally, someone would strap on an AR-15 across my shoulder. What happened to that? I said this will be, I have spoken at rallies all over the country, but this will be the first time ever that I've done a speech with a semi-automatic rifle. There you go. Okay. Yeah. Now I feel at home. I have a Bushmaster AR-15 and it's totally tricked out. So when they told me last night I would get to speak with some sort of semi-automatic rifle on my shoulder, I said, make sure it's tricked out, okay? I wouldn't be caught with anything less. So, you know, folks, we have had a long, hard road to tow. Media, of course. You know, okay, since the media's up there and out here, let me share a couple of things with the media today, just in case you didn't get it earlier. First of all, this little badge here says, my AR-15 is not an assault rifle unless you try to take it from me. By the way, folks, I brought a few of these with me, so after I get through speaking, if you'll come over and say hi, I'll give you one of these to pin on your jacket. I don't have very many, but I've got a few, so I'll hand those out. Okay, so the news media also needs to know that in addition to the fact that my AR-15 is not an assault rifle, it is also not a weapon of mass destruction. I heard that on even Fox News. I can't tell you all the anchors that have been calling our semi-automatic rifles the most hideous, ridiculous names. They need to get an education. You know what the media does? Every time there's any sort of crime that's gun-related, they rush to the airwaves and they can't wait to tell everybody about it, right? I know, because I've been there. Yes. I used to anchor. I've been a network television anchor for ABC, CBS, and NBC. I left the mainstream media because I got sick of the liberal bias. I got sick of all of those kinds of stories about gun crimes and those horrible guns, but what the news media never tells the American people is that 2.5 million times last year, guns were pulled in self-defense. Guns saved lives. And in most of those cases, the person who pulled the gun never had to pull the trigger. They simply had to brandish a firearm to stop the attack. And folks, that's why we should have the right. That's one of many reasons we should have the right to carry guns. They also don't tell you that 90 million gun owners in this country with over 300 million guns killed no one last year. They just want to tell you about those 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 liberals who happen to get their hands on guns and commit these mass shootings. They'll tell you about those, but they conveniently leave out the fact that most of the people committing those crimes are not conservative patriots. They're crazy liberals.
Adopt us, Texas!
Something else I want the media here to know today, just in case you haven't gotten this message. Gun control is not about guns. It never has been. It has always been about control. And our founding fathers understood this, folks. That's why they gave us the Second Amendment. It is our last line of defense against tyranny. We have to guard it vigorously. We have to viciously stand up and fight for it and protect it. We already have over 30,000 gun control laws on the books in this country. That's an outrage. How did that happen? Think about that.
Because no one stood up.
That's right. Compromise. So that's why I am so thankful to be here today and to get a chance to meet you fine folks. And after I speak, I'm going to walk around and I'm going to visit with people until you're all gone. I'm not leaving until I've had a chance to visit with everybody that wants to talk, okay? I appreciate you coming today. I appreciate you standing behind those elected people who are fighting for us. I appreciate you being members of the National Rifle Association, the Second Amendment Foundation, Oath Keepers, Gun Owners of America, all of those associations and organizations that are fighting for our Second Amendment rights. Folks, they've got to have our money. They have to have our help. They can't do it without us. So what I want to talk to you about today, you know what the problems are. We know about all of the attacks coming our way. It's like the Sandy Hook massacre happened, and then the government just went plunge. Government gone bad on steroids is what happened. We're under attack nationally, but I'm also seeing a resurgence of that fighting spirit, and I love it. I was counting this morning, there are only 12 states left in this country today that have not either introduced or passed or put up for an introduction the Firearm Freedom Act, which basically tells the federal government, you do what you want to do, but in our state, our citizens abide by their rules, not yours. Because in our state, like many states in this country, we are of the people, by the people, and for the people, not for the government. The government is there to serve us, and it is time for us to remind the government where their place is, because somehow along the way, they have lost touch and lost the simple basic understanding that they are there because we put them there. They are funded by our tax dollars. We need to remember that too, folks. So what I want to tell you today, I want to leave you with this. Gosh, I wish they would go away. I know that it gets to, you feel overwhelmed sometimes. There's so much coming at us, not only about the Second Amendment, but there's such a huge movement. There is such an attack against our constitutional republic right now. There are millions of people in this country who literally think socialism is the answer to our problems, and we know that that is not. Socialism has been a colossal failure throughout history. Our founding fathers knew that without liberty, we have nothing. We must remain free, and an armed America is a free America. So here's what I want you to do. If you start feeling kind of down, if you've got buddies that didn't come today because they said, what's the point? You know, why fight anymore? It's a lost cause. I know a lot of people when Barack Obama won well, did he really win? Okay. When Barack Obama gained a second term in office, lots of those folks, I could tell you, I have some ideas, but we won't get into that today about how that happened. Lots of folks came on my walls, people who were normally upstanding, fighting patriots, and they said, it's over. America's lost. We're done. Might as well leave the country, hole up, go underground, and wait for the worst. Well, folks, that is not the spirit of our founding fathers, is it? Don't you know those guys? Think about what those guys were up against. If you haven't read your history books, there was a time when our founders didn't have shoes on their feet and they were walking in the snow like this. They had no food. They were out-armed. Don't you think they were feeling just a little bit overwhelmed? Did they quit? No. Did you ever hear anything from any of our founding fathers like, well, I guess we better tuck tail and run? No. I want you to help me rally the troops in this country. I want you to help me wake up America. I want you to find deep within yourself that spirit of the founding fathers, that fighting spirit. That's right. And I want you to share it with your friends and say, folks, we've got to fight back. And you're not hopeless and helpless just because you're a single individual American. You don't have to run for Congress to make a difference. There is something every single one of you can do. Here are some things that you can do. You can talk. There was a time in this country when people said there are two things you don't talk about in company with company. That's politics and religion, right? Well, guess what, folks? We have to talk about politics and religion now. People will tell you today, when you're in mixed company, when you're at church, don't talk about your guns, don't talk about your gun rights, don't bring up the Islamization of America, don't talk about civilization jihad, don't talk about Republicans, don't talk about Democrats. You know what? You got to talk about it. Because we have an uneducated public out there today. And do you know what America's greatest threat is? Do you want to know what it really is? It's not Barack Obama, it's not Hillary Clinton, it's not socialism, it's not communism, it's not Islam. Our greatest threat is apathy. Because the good, fine folks of this country, like you and I, we are out there working hard every day. We're not out there blabbing our mouths, sitting at home drawing government checks. No, we're out there working and supporting the rest of those folks. We're out there taking our kids to school every morning, going to work all day, coming home, getting our kids with their homework, helping them do their homework, helping them get to bed, and then we go to bed and start all over again. Many of our people on our side who would agree with us and fight with us, they're too busy living the American dream. Meanwhile, America's becoming a nightmare. You've got to tell those people, you have to tell those people they've got to wake up and they've got to get involved, or one day they're going to wake up and their American dream is going to be in the sewage and it's going to be too late to do anything about it. So talk to people. Political correctness, it's a thing of the past. Put it out the door. We live in a politically correct stupor right now and it's killing this country. The next thing I want you to do, in addition to talking to people and sharing knowledge about what's happening in our country, is to talk to your kids. If your kids are in public school systems, and I apologize, I don't mean to offend any school teachers out here. There are a lot of great Americans in those public schools teaching our kids. But unfortunately, many of them are using a curriculum that is biased and absolutely filled with lies and deception. So it is our responsibility to educate our kids. Make sure, read what your kids are reading. When they come home, say, honey, bring home your history book. I want to see what you learned today in your classes. And you sit down and you make sure that what they're being taught is the truth. I also want you to tell your kids and your grandkids, from the earliest days, their earliest ages, start talking to them about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Because people, they aren't getting those lessons in school. The Constitution, I want our children and our grandchildren to understand that that Constitution and Bill of Rights is precious. It is the foundation of everything that we stand on today. And I want us to start teaching our kids, even when they're little kindergartners, teach them the word Constitution and say, this is really important. They won't understand it, but they'll know that mommy and daddy believe that thing, whatever that is, it's priceless. And we have to guard it, and we have to stand beside it, and we have to be so sensitive to any efforts by any entities to trample that we need to be ready to jump up and defend it. Right now, today, we have a president that has trampled this Constitution. We have a legislature that's trampled it. We have bills introduced and passed that are against the constitutional rights of the Americans of this country, and everybody's just acting like, oh, well.
You don't see the tears in that woman's eyes? Come on! Let's do it!
So I'm asking you to teach your kids, please. Make them understand, and your grandkids. If your kids aren't teaching their kids, then you say, hey, bring the grandkids over today. I want to have them over for a couple of days. And then you get busy brainwashing. Thank you. Oh, I love you too. I should have worn waterproof mascara. Sorry about that. Folks, thank you so much for coming out here today.
Thank you.
Finally, I want you to do what I know many of you are going to do after this rally. I've asked you to educate your friends. I've asked you to educate your kids. And I also want you to stay on the backs of those people that we elect. I want you to get busy and volunteer to campaign for those people who are going to stand up for you. And then once we get them in office, You can't walk away, folks, and say, okay, we elected the right people. I know they're going to do right by us, because you know what happens? They come up here and they get corrupt.
That's right.
So you have to elect them, and then you have to say, at their victory party, you go up and you shake their hand and you say, I'm so proud to have served you to get you elected. Now you're going to serve me and all of these people here. And don't forget that if you do not do what we have mandated you to do, we are going to be all over you and your business, and you are going to be a one-termer or maybe less. So today, if you get a chance, go pay a visit to your legislators and tell them, hey, I helped put you here, and I can take you out.
That's right.
Be sure you take your gun off, though, before you go in, so they don't misunderstand your meaning. Folks, I've enjoyed it. I look forward to meeting and visiting with you today. Don't forget I have these little AR-15 badges. I think I have about 20 of them, so they're not going to go very far, but I'll hand them out until they're gone. Looking forward to visiting with you. Thank you for weathering this weather. I guess this is weather. I mean, in Texas, we never see snow. I'm just like, wow. Great. Look me up on Facebook. It's Jan Morgan. I'm the only Jan Morgan on Facebook that's got like 300-something thousand people on my walls. They're all gun people, patriots, solid Americans. It'll make you feel better to network with them, to talk to them, and know that you're not alone up here in Michigan fighting this fight. We're all over the country, people. And we're going to win this war. We just got to wake up the rest of us and say, hey, we got a battle going on here, and we've got to get up to the battlefront and fight. We've got to stand up and fight. We can't be shy anymore. And this is not just about hunting, folks. By the way, if we give them the right to register our guns, the next thing is confiscation. Registration, confiscation. You know what? On my wall yesterday, if you go to janmorganmedia.com, that's my website, I did a story because actually one of our Republicans suggested that as a compromise for eliminating the assault weapons ban, which they knew that was never going to pass anyway. What a joke. The compromise that the Republicans would offer would be, well, we could submit gun owners to mental evaluations, and a psychiatrist can determine if they're mentally fit to own a gun. So folks, we had the Democrats suggesting weapons bans. We had the Republicans suggesting crazy bans. But you know the problem with that, and I wrote this in my article. Go check the article out. It's called Dems push assault weapon bans, Republicans push crazy bans. So who gets to define crazy? You know what they're going to define crazy? If we let them buy with this, here's what they're going to define as crazy. If you have ever in your life been prescribed an antidepressant, you can't own a gun.
That's right.
If you've ever served our country honorably and you've come home and you had a little bit of stress associated with watching people die, your best friends die beside you, you might have a little stress syndrome, so you can't own a gun.
My ass.
If you are a liberty-loving, freedom-fighting, God-fearing, gun-owning American, like me, you might be a domestic terrorist. That makes you crazy. So you know what that means? The only people in America who would own guns would be those crazy liberals that are committing all the mass shootings. So you need to be sure to write your Republican representatives and say, hey, that crazy ban thing that some of you guys are supporting, don't do that. I love you all. Or as in Texas we would say, I love y'all. Look me up on Facebook. I've got my cards. I've got the badges. Look forward to visiting with you right over here on the side, okay? Thank you. I love Michigan.
Yeah, I told you that was going to be a great speech, didn't I? Now, don't forget to send me your old Jim Carrey tapes and DVDs. I'm going to see how many ways I can destroy them, just like he's destroyed his own career when he released that idiotic Cold Dead Hands video. Send them to Post Office Box 91, Alpena, Michigan, 49707. I will never watch a Jim Carrey movie again. Good job pissing off 1/3 of your fans there, numbnuts. Also remember that the content that you see here on The Truth is Vital is 100% viewer supported. So go to bobpowell.blogspot.com, and if you are financially able, please make a donation. Maybe we can make a dent in some of these medical bills that Obamacare is not covering. Did anybody actually believe that scheme was going to work? Well, I didn't. But he fooled us. Well, he fooled some of you. It didn't fool me for a second. Anyway, that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed this show. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. Don't forget, next week we're going to be going live. I'll let you know exactly when. Until then, as always, God bless. Semper Fi. Hoorah.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.
Smack runner, your game is